Do you ever feel like you were bleeding too much until you're starting to feel like you're rotting on the inside, spreading to your outsides?
Rune was laying in the alleyway floor. He didn't seem to mind about the cold concrete underneath his body. As he was trying to rest, looking up at the night sky, but then he heard screaming. People screaming and running. He slowly got up from the hard, cold pavement underneath him and looked out from the alleyway, and he noticed many people screaming at one another. But then he stumbled upon someone running towards him, screaming help. Honestly, Rune was not expecting to see someone wanting his help, but then that's when he saw it. The person that came running towards him seeked help, ends up getting tackled by something much more disturbing. Rune ends up pausing, and he notices that the young man was struggling against this evil thing. This thing looked corrupted. A corpse that seems corrupted by this unknown black substance leaking from its body, oozing from its wounds. It looked hungry. It was clamping its jaws in the air, trying to get after his meal. But the young man was fighting back against the creature. The creature was thrashing and trying to get after him, but luckily he was fighting back. But the skin was corrupted and rotten. Its teeth was crooked and rotten. It lacked hair, almost as if it was fallen out ages ago. The creature continues to lash out, trying to eat the young man. But of course that's when the young vagrant Rune, grabbing a hold of a blunt weapon that he had for a long while, rushed towards the young man to help him with the creature that was trying to take a bite out of him. Rune grabbed a hold of the shambler before ripping it away from Rune and throwing the creature onto the ground. Rune shouted, "Back off!" as the shambler slowly picked itself up. But it seemed unnatural. It was twitching. It was gurgling. And it stared at Rune before it roared. It started shambling towards him, stumbling on each step. But of course Rune shoved it again before hitting it as it stumbled backwards. Used his weapon, smacking it multiple times before stomping his brains out. And that's when the young man thanked him. "Thank you. I don't know what I could do if it wasn't for you. That thing was chasing me." "Who are you?" Rune said. "My name is Lee. Thank you. We need to get out of here." Rune obviously does not know what was going on, but he looked at the dead creature in front of him and knew that it wasn't right. What he killed wasn't human anymore. But of course, what he was not expecting is that the undead got inside the alleyway. All of them looked grotesque and mutated. More shamblers stared at Lee and Rune. Obviously, Lee had no experience when it comes to these things. Rune is also not experienced when it comes to facing off the shamblers. But this isn't his first time dancing with something like this. But, of course, what Rune was not expecting is that there's going to be plenty of them. There's like 7 shamblers walking towards him. And Rune looked at it. But Lee, he said, yeah, no, fuck that, you're on your own. Turned around and made a run for it. Lee couldn't believe that the man that saved him actually decided to run away. Don't leave me! Lee ends up running behind as the Shamblers begins to howl. And that's when the creatures ended up pursuing Lee and Rune, chasing after them, craving their flesh, wanting to rip them apart, and taste the warm flesh against their cold jaws. The both young men continues to run for it as the Shamblers was pursuing them. Rune ends up jumping over a wooden fence, but luckily Lee wasn't new when it comes to agility and jumping over obstacles. I mean, he did crawl through vents, and so after going through many trials and obstacles, Rune ends up shoving one of the Shamblers out of his way, while another one stumbled towards him, but he ended up headbutting the creature and shouted, "Suck on this!" as he shouted at the Shambler while continued running. Obviously, Lee was not expecting such aggression when it comes to this human man. It's almost like he actually faced creatures before, but of course Rune was mysterious. Rune continues to run while having a backpack on his back. He continues following Rune while Lee notices the chaos. Everything was absolute chaos. The cars were crashing, Shamblers eating people, people killing one another while others started looting places. It was nothing but chaos and the beginning of the apocalypse. And that's when Lee notices Rune running into an alleyway. Another one, at least. Lee ended up following behind and noticed that Rune was actually trying to get away from the chaos. So was Lee. But of course the afflicted Shamblers, there was more of them pursuing them. But this time there was less. Rune looked at the creatures before shouting, "You want some? Come on!" As the Shamblers started walking towards them, that's when Rune ended up lifting up his weapon. "Okay. Luckily I have plenty to go around. Just open your mouths and try to jump on this, jack-offs."